Hi friends, I'm Flutter. Is my dialogue system breaking immersion in VR? This is a really important question because I have spent countless hours on the dialogue system for my VR game. And then I started to think maybe this was a bad idea and it's like terrible for VR. I'm not sure if I'm being a purist or not, so let's find out. In this video, I'm going to discuss how I used Unity's Canvas system to create dialogue for characters and interactions. First, let's talk about the things I had in mind for this assessment. Well, first, we're talking about virtual reality, not mixed or augmented reality. A lot of us have seen Apple's Vision Pro flat panels. And remember that for that purpose, it's for mixed reality and you still want to see your real space. So it's that merge of the digital and physical, and it's also mimicking computer monitors. But when it comes to VR, you are completely immersed in another world. So something you often hear is immersion is key and don't break immersion. So I started to think about what makes good VR design. This is something I'm thinking about all the time and exploring that question quite often. The second thing I thought about is the purpose of my VR narrative. Who is this for? Why am I creating it? What is the main message or what needs to be accomplished by the player using the application and a part of the experience? The things that I thought about were talking to characters realistically. I think it would be super fun to see Animal Crossing in VR and talk to all of the villagers. So that was something I wanted to explore. The other thing is paying an homage to interactive fiction, even though that's generally created in a gaming way and it's in that category, it is also a different format of gameplay. So I'm not sure if it was the greatest idea to try to want to bring that into VR, but I thought, why not try it? In the process, I ended up creating a lot of simple puzzles. I don't consider my game a puzzle game, but some people may. And the reason I did that is I wanted to enhance the experience and maybe enhance the sense of presence and just feel like you are interacting with the environment. So it was really there to create interest. My approach to VR is using it as an art medium, and I'm not really creating this to have this exciting gameplay or even to really be too complicated of a puzzle game, because really my ultimate goal is for you to experience a story and to have fun interacting with the environment while doing so. Let's go through how I set this up in Unity and then see if I've accomplished any of the things and key points that I've mentioned. What inspired this idea was Meta's game Whisperer, which was created to show off the voice SDK. I really like how the text over the characters was used in that case, and I thought, well, maybe it'll work here. So I decided to try it out. There are third party dialogue system tools out there on the Unity Asset Store. I looked into one of them, but the learning curve was really big, and I just felt that my dialogue system wasn't complex enough. It didn't use the branching dialogue that I was thinking about using. So I thought, well, let me just create something simple on my own. And I came up with my own approach and my own style and gameplay. And I just wanted it to be custom to what I was doing. And I didn't want to make it complicated. So I just wanted to learn. So I just made this from scratch. What I did is I created a dialogue scriptable object for each character that you are to talk with. And it has a dialogue line. That's the copy, the text that shows above the head. There is also audio that goes with it, and then animation. So when you press the continue button, and I'm going to show you this. When you press the continue button, it'll go through the first line, audio and animation, and then transition to that second animation and audio and line when you press continue. And then on the last line, the button will change and say close. So then you close it and you know that you're done talking to the character. And then you can go to another character that is glowing. So you will see this glowing visual effect on every single character in the club. The reason why all of the canvases are turned off is because I don't want it to say continue over every single character in the club. That would definitely break immersion if you're seeing all this text everywhere. But one at a time, I don't think is as bad, and I think can be quite effective in work. Let's take a look a little bit more at how this is built again. So if we click on the character, there's a box collider. The player, that's why I have the XR Simple Interactable component on here. The player will walk within this range and then set off that first line, first animation, first sound that you saw in the scriptable object. There's also a character dialogue UI script, which is referencing that continue button, as well as the canvas that I've set up again for each character over here. And then there's the dialogue trigger script. So when you trigger that and step into the box collider, it goes to reference the dialogue scriptable object and then the animator, that canvas, and then it turns off the particle system when you're done going through all the lines. So that's also referenced there. That's it on that. And then the canvas, again, has the button, the dialogue UI, which referencing the button, and then referencing what I just showed you, the character that has the box collider on it. And then the final thing is the dialogue manager. When I was thinking about having it branching or having you need to speak to two characters versus another two characters, I was kind of going to divide it that way. I wanted to make sure that you talk to the fox last, but after I went through some mapping on that, I realized that it wouldn't work. And it was either because of the number of characters I had in the way that I might have been dividing it up, and I just scrapped that idea and instead decided that the player should just have complete freedom, talk to whoever they want one at a time, and that was enough. And so then when you talk with all the characters, the fairy appears in front of you and then gives you more context to the story and a little bit of direction and clues of what to do with the shadow matching game. So I think that's all. I'm not going to go into the script because we can go on and on about how this was made. I just wanted to give you that basic idea and to see how it looks. And I will show you gameplay footage so that you can really get a sense of how this appears. Now, the skeleton bartender is set up a little bit differently. This is not a part of the dialogue system. I'll just show you what I did here in this case. I just felt like it might be easier to do this way. What happens here is there's 3 different ways that text appears above the skeleton. Now, the skeleton has a canvas childed to it. And on that canvas, there's 3 different responses. The first response is when you collide with the box collider of this character, and it will say this. Then if you pick up and grab the menu right here, the menu will say, the skeleton will say this. And then on the menu, when you check the last option, which is the round of drinks for all, the skeleton says, you'll never be able to heal their hearts. So it just toggles through those different lines based on how you're interacting with the character and the objects there. Well, the one object. And is there anything else I can show there? So that's really on the simple interactable like this here. So it's a lot of toggling on and off. And then the drinks have their own, the drinks is its own thing altogether as well. So what correlates to the skeleton there is that last, the drinks for all, but I have a special little Easter egg if you want to order all the drinks, something happens. What could it be? I don't know. You'll have to play the game. So yeah, let's take a look at some of that gameplay and see, is this breaking immersion or is this good? and then we can talk about this some more. Now, there are really good reasons after I created this to keep this text and these panels in VR. And one of those big reasons is accessibility. There's also sound with each line. So if you can't hear well, you can read. And if you can't read, you can hear. So I do like that a lot. If you missed what a character said and it's part of a direction, you can take your time and you can read. So it allows the player also to go at their own pace. Something I also like about it is it's just frankly something to click through and press and participate with. Yes, every morning during breakfast, I play Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And I found that I don't even read what they say anymore. I just like clicking through and, getting to the next thing. So there's just something about that experience, or that you feel like you're participating simply by clicking through. But now this is where I'm starting to be a purist and think that this was a bad idea. So what are some bad reasons for using this? Well, it's not realistic to see text across someone's head in real life. So I thought maybe it's not really realistic and I should just have audio for the characters. But like I said, I don't want people to miss things either. And then also it could be cumbersome to just click through all of the dialogue and then have it not really go anywhere that you're making a choice. However, what it does do once you've talked to all the characters is the fairy guide returns to speak with you. So I guess if you weren't to do that, you wouldn't get that part of the experience. So it does have a purpose. It does lead to something, but it may not lead to something in the way that interactive fiction does, for example. So that could be where it's a bit off. So after thinking about, is this a good or bad idea? I thought, wow, if I were to remove this, I'm removing a really huge feature that I spent so much time on and really learned a lot, and it shows my technical ability. And if I were to take it out, would my game just look even more simple or not as complex? But again, at the end of the day, it's what's going to be best for the player and what's going to make the best experience. So I'm going to have to make that decision. And sometimes something that's over complex is not easy to use, and you want it to be easy to use, especially for first time VR users. And I think that my audience is going to be people that both just like to experience a game and maybe haven't used VR very much, and they more so want to just experience maybe not a game, but just a story. So why make it overcomplicated, right? Now I want to hear your thoughts. How would you approach this same design challenge? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, keep working on your projects, keep enjoying VR, and I will talk with you again soon. Thanks for watching.